Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I was a complete idiot and I forgot to film an intro to this video. So this is going to be my intro. It is about the bareMinerals barePRO Matte Foundation. This is what it looks like. Here's the little pump. So real quickly, I'm just going to go over a few things that it claims. Probably not a few, there's actually quite a bit that it claims. So I'm just going to read those off to you, and then it's going to go into a clip of me applying it, and then I will talk to you at the end of the video. So this foundation, this is the barePRO Performance Wear Liquid Foundation. It blurs pores and imperfections and improves the appearance of skin texture over time. Breathable and creamy. Makeup so pure you can sleep in it. You'll have to wait to the end of the video before I give my opinion on that claim. This claims that it is a 24-hour wear. It's got SPF 20 in it for sun protection. It's a natural matte finish. It blurs pores and imperfections. It is sweat resistant and transfer resistant. And its last claim is it combats gray or ashy looks to darker skin tones. Then it also says that it is free of oils, parabens, and fragrance, non-acnegenic and non-comedogenic. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Promotes improved skin texture. Is also hypoallergenic. And I had to say it like that because otherwise I can't freaking say the word. So, yes. It's got quite a bit of claims that it does have. So this particular foundation comes in 30 different shades. I have to read off exactly what category these are. So they have fair, light, medium, tan, dark, and they have deep, and it retails for $34. So if you want to hear my thoughts and opinions and how it wore on my skin, and then go ahead and just keep watching. I already prepped and primed my face. I've washed it. I put my Clinique Moisture Surge on my face like I always do, and then I put my face primer. Today's primer I use the Time Bomb by The Balm Cosmetics. So I'm just going to go right in and we are going to apply this. I'm going to put 2 pumps on both sides. I'm going to, it's so dirty, but I am using my Real Technique sponge and I am using it dry, so I did not dampen this at all. And I'm just going to do patting motions with this foundation. So typically the real test with foundations, it's around my nose. A lot of the time a foundation does not sit well on my nose. And if it doesn't, then I know it's not going to work for my face at all, like during the rest of the day. So I'm just going to apply one more pump on my forehead just to cover up my forehead. Now I have tried applying this foundation because I've had 3 weeks to play with it. I've tried it with a stippling brush from e.l.f. I've tried it with a stippling brush from MAC. I've tried it with my actual Beauty Blender damp and dry, and I've tried it with my Real Technique sponge damp and dry. I just applied it for you the way I've enjoyed wearing this. Now I've learned that this foundation, I do not like layering it. So if I want full coverage right off the bat, then I'm going to use more pumps. Because when I did try to apply like a second layer after waiting for it to dry, I felt like it got really cakey. So I feel like this is a one-step type of foundation where you do one layer, and then if you need to spot conceal some areas that may be translucent to you, then I would just use a concealer to kind of, you know, cover that up. But I am absolutely loving how full coverage this is. This is just the foundation. It is super matte, like goddamn. Is it matte? I love the coverage it gives. I love the finish it gives. It is a very true matte foundation. You know, having 3 weeks to have played with it, I feel like I've gotten a really good idea on how I like to wear this particular foundation. Now, if I were to just have done one drop on each side, it does give a really nice veil to where I would say it's more medium coverage. But 2 pumps on both cheeks and 1 on the forehead, which obviously is 5. I do pump a lot because I do like to blend it down onto my neck. I always blend it, so I feel like if I hadn't done my neck, that would have been for my forehead with the 4 pumps, but because I do the 4 on my lower portion of my face, I do bring it down onto my neck. So I am really enjoying it. It does dry fairly quickly, so you do have to move a little, you know, fast with it. Aside from that, I'm absolutely loving how it applies. This is it completely dry on my face, because now I'm going to go back in, I'm going to conceal and put the rest of my face on, and then I'm going to come back and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on the foundation. Okay, you guys, so now you just watched how I applied it. So this basically is a recap, in my opinion, and everything under the sun kind of thing about this foundation. If you look at my face right now, this is my face after wearing this foundation for almost 12 hours. On top of it being on all day, I also went to work today and I have not touched up my face once, except my lipstick. I do touch up my lipstick quite a bit, but I have not blotted or dabbed or anything on my face. As you can see, I think it held up pretty well. I mean, I honestly think it could go much longer. So is it a 24-hour wear? I think it could make it there. I honestly do. I've had the opportunity to play with it in many different ways. And the way you watched me apply it in the video is my favorite way to wear it. I was an idiot, and the first time I put it on, I layered it and I didn't wait for it to dry. I immediately just thought, it's not full coverage, I'm gonna put another layer on it, and I'm gonna do it before it gets dry because I wanted to really like pack it on there. Biggest mistake ever. I literally was like this. Like, I felt like I couldn't move my face. It felt like I was wearing a fucking mask, and it just was awful all day. Granted, I sweat like crazy and nothing budged, but holy cow, it felt like I was wearing a mask. So my coworker had told me to dilute it with another foundation, so the next day I wore it, I did dilute it with a foundation. I diluted it with the L'Oreal Infallible, and I loved the way it looked on my skin. Absolutely loved it. Did dilute the product quite a bit. So I mean, I still had a matte finish, but the Infallible is nowhere near as matte as this guy right here. I'm gonna go off the list so that way I can check off their claims. 24-hour wear, yes, I definitely think it can go to 24 hours. If not, it's gonna push 24 hours because holy cow, I've been sweating all day, I've been working like I told you. I do think this could be a 24-hour wear. Now, sun protection, I'm not out in the sun that much. I care if my foundation does have SPF in it. No, not really. Would I wear it even if that ingredient wasn't in it? Of course I would, because I was so happy with this. Natural matte finish, it is extremely matte. I don't know about natural, but it is matte. So if you are a grease ball and you are just an oil slick type of face, this is your shit right here. This will do awesome on oily skin. Blur pores, kind of. I did set my foundation with powder, and I did do it every single time, and I did it with the Laura Mercier setting powder, and then I also used Lorax pressed mineralized powder, which I did on a few other days. Both powders work just the same. Obviously one was color and one was translucent, but they worked awesome and did help blur out the texture that I did see. Now, I actually, with this foundation, I absolutely loved it as the day went on. Now, when I first applied it, yes, my skin looked really pretty. I could see the texture though, and I wasn't like too happy about it. But as I was sweating and got hot during the day, because it's freaking hot here. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I just moved to this area where it is 95 plus daily. And I could not find a foundation that would stay on my face. Literally everything I tried just like was melting off my face and just kind of separating. Now this stayed on my face, and I feel like as you sweat or even humidity, anything like that, I feel like it actually causes it to blur more throughout the day, because I feel like my face looks better after an hour into wearing it than I did when I first originally put it on. Now it says sweat resistant and transfer resistant. Yes, it is transfer resistant. I don't have anything on my black clothes. Obviously when I put this over, it drags. There's nothing on my collar. Granted, if you're putting your big head through a little hole on a sweatshirt, I'm sure you're gonna get some makeup there. It says combat gray or ashy look on darker skin tones. I obviously am not a dark skin tone, but my coworker is, and she actually really loves this. Now, the only problem with this foundation and all in the range, it does have warm to cool tones and neutrals. But I feel like if you have olive skin or a yellow undertone to your skin, this is going to be your makeup line. So to me, you need to be pretty oily or live somewhere where it's really humid, where you're constantly going to have that moisture on your face. or you have to have pretty yellow skin to wear this makeup line, just because I feel like there's a huge selection that has a yellow undertone in it, whereas the pinker tones, there's less, there's not as many. So if I were to lay them all out, I feel like you only have like maybe 5 or 6 to choose from, whereas the rest of the color line or the rest of the foundation line is mainly yellow undertone. So that's why it works so well for me though. I do have olive skin. I can get darker. Now this color matches me perfectly. So I wear the color Warm Light, which is 07 in it. And I absolutely love this foundation. Right now it is my #1 go-to foundation. I will 100% repurchase it. $34 is a perfect price point for this. I would pay more for it, honestly. It has made my skin so happy. I cannot tell you how happy my skin is. Would I sleep in this foundation? Because I believe that was one of the other claims it has, or saying that it's so good you could sleep in it. I would never sleep in my makeup. If you saw my Unready, or if you watched my Get Unready with me video, then you know I would never sleep in my makeup, because you saw how much crap came off my face. And that's a daily occurrence, honestly. This foundation is by far my new favorite, and until I come up with a new one, which I really want to try the Milk foundation, the matte foundation. I want to try that one too, because right now where I live, because I get so hot and I'm constantly sweating, I really need something that's going to hold up. This makeup does not budge. Obviously, I mean, if you like my makeup right now, this is what, 12 hours into wearing my makeup, no touch-ups, and I feel like my skin looks pretty good for that amount of time and not touching up, which is huge, because when I lived back in Sonoma County, I wore the Born This Way, the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and that looked awesome on my skin there, but the minute I moved here, that foundation literally would not stay on my skin. It broke up and it would just spread to where I could touch my face and drag it and it would come right off. My face right now feels so smooth, but I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10, obviously, because if I gave it a 10, it would have to have more shades that had more pinker tones in it. I honestly should give this an A+, because it did have it's like my perfect matte foundation, because it comes, no matter how dark or how light I get, it will have every shade for me. And this color right here is a perfect match for me. That pretty much wraps it up for my review. Like I said, I've been using this for 3 weeks, so I feel like I've gotten a really, really good impression on this particular foundation. I do want to try a few other foundations, just because I love trying foundations, but this by far highly recommended to anybody that has super oily skin, or even kind of combination skin, and anybody who has olive skin or a yellow undertone to their light or dark skin. I feel like this is going to be an excellent option for you, and I preferably like to set it with a powder, just because I like to have more of a smooth finish. And I also feel like during the day when you start getting sweaty or humidity hits your face, that it actually just kind of, it's almost like like the minute you sweat or humidity hits your face, it's like a setting spray where it literally just kind of diffuses all the makeup together and just makes it so pretty and airbrushed looking that it's, I just love it. Granted, I would not layer this foundation. I wouldn't put a coat of it on, let it dry, and put a second coat. I feel like this is a one-step foundation. So the way I like to apply it is I do one coat of it. I do it with my Real Techniques sponge, and then wherever, if ever, so far, there has been a couple days where I feel like there wasn't enough coverage right here in my cheeks, and it's because I didn't blend it out fast enough. I just go back in with my concealer and I will conceal the certain areas that I feel like maybe need a second layer. That is the one other negative about this foundation, is it does dry very quickly, so you need to work in smaller sections. Other than that, that is something very mild, so I will definitely keep repurchasing this. So if you guys like these videos, just make sure you give this a thumbs up for me and let me know that you like watching these kind of videos, because I would love to make more of these. Obviously, I will make intros for the other ones, because I couldn't believe I forgot to do it for this one. Anywho, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!